Hello and welcome. A couple of years ago I made a video about our Radio Flyer Kid Tesla, which you see the bottom of behind me here, and my girls just love driving it around. In fact, they love driving it around so much that they wear out the tires. And I don't want to bother to go out and buy new Radio Flyer tires, and frankly the tires as they come from the manufacturer, they're kind of annoying because they're just hard plastic. The rear tires are basically just hard plastic slicks by this point. Both of them. They slide a lot and they just make a ton of noise as the kids drive over gravel or other material. And they slide around a lot too as the kids hit the accelerator pedal. It just has one speed, it's on or off, it doesn't ramp up, so the tires spin, and then when they come to a stop and they let off on the accelerator pedal, the rear tires skid as well again. And so what I have found is that the tires get worn out really surprisingly fast. It's getting so worn out that there's starting to be holes in the hard plastic here that's wearing thin. And so I have experimented with a couple of things through the years. I've put some gaffer's tape around the tires, and that tape just wears out pretty quick. But it did quiet the tires, and it also made them more grippy for a little while. Here you can see on this tire there is some gaffer's tape still there, and it's getting worn out. Up here you can see that before I put the gaffer's tape on, that the tire was splitting in half. So right here you see that ridge in the middle, that was a crack that was going down the center of the tire. And then on the tire over here, there is a crack that is starting here on the side. Here you can see I've cut off the tape, and right here where the tire was cracking, it was getting really thin because of all the skidding and then just breaking when they went over a curb or something to that effect. So the next thing that I tried was putting on old bicycle inner tube. So I just wanted some rubber here on the tire, and I stuck that rubber on, and periodically would use screws here on the side of the tire to hold the rubber on. Well, that didn't last very long. As you can see here, this is what's remaining of the inner tube that used to be on this tire, and it's just woefully inadequate. I mean, it did last for a few months, I guess. It just gets shredded and then falls off. So then what I decided to try is try wrapping the tires on the Kid Tesla with actual bicycle tires. And so I went to a local bike shop, and they gave me a couple of these old tires for free that they had taken off of bikes. And I tried wrapping 3 of the tires on this Kid Tesla with those bike tires. And let me show you now what that looks like. So here's a tire. You can see how I went about doing that. I cut off the sidewall of the bicycle tire, and I just kept the middle a couple of inches here, and right here is a seam. So I just cut it to the right length, and I got, for one bicycle tire, I got 3 of these tires lined for this Kid Tesla. There's a little bit of a gap here, doesn't really matter. I then put screws here just straight into the tire, and you can see I used 5 screws. So basically on each of the quarters all the way around, except for right here where there's 2 right next to each other. I did that on that tire, and I did the same thing over here on this tire, and then this back tire down here. Now all 3 of these tires I did last year actually, and so the kids drove on them last fall, and then this year so far, we're July of this year, the kids have been riding around on this Kid Tesla with the 3 tires lined, and then the 4th one I hadn't done just yet because I kind of wanted to see how well the inner tube would fare, and you can see here it's totally shredded and coming off now, whereas the other 3 are still sitting on there rock solid. So now what I'm going to do is do the 4th tire the same, and I'll show you how I did that. The first thing I'm going to do is use these shears to just cut the tire in half straight across. The next thing I'm going to do is wrap the tire around this Kid Tesla tire to see where I need to cut it off at. And it looks like I need to cut it off right here. So then I just cut it off right there. Right here on the end, there's this bead that goes around the sides of the tire. Those are harder to cut through, but on a bicycle tire like this one, they're not metal, so regular shears or scissors can do it. And you can see that it comes together with a little bit of pressure, and that's what you want, because you want tight around the tire, and I could even maybe overlap just a tiny bit right there. So I'm going to be putting in screws here and here on either side. But first off, I want to cut off this side material, which is unneeded. On this particular tire, there's a convenient line right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and follow that line all the way around. Now that I have the sides cut off, I can get this screwed on. So pulling this back around Takes just a little bit of finessing, getting it centered, and then pulled tight together here so that they match. Now, the screws I'm going to use in this case just happen to be some screws that I had laying around. I'll put some links in the description in the video down below to equivalent screws to these, but they're just basic, look like 1/2-inch Phillips head screws. So I'm just going to drill in right here. I'm going to give it a little bit of an edge. You don't want it too close to the edge because you don't want it to rip out, so I'll put it back from that a little bit. Okay, so now that this is secured in place, I'm going to go to the 180 degree opposite side of the tire. 90 degrees from that, put in another screw there. Now that spot was a soft spot in the tire. I can see that's where it was breaking. So I'm actually going to move that screw up. There we go. And there you have it. That tire is now lined like the others and will, I assume, perform just like the rest of the tires, because I did the exact same thing a year ago and this is still working fantastic. If you have any kind of electric kids car, this same technique will work for them. All of their tires are pretty much the same. This is pretty low-tech stuff. And so I hope this has been helpful to you to give you an idea of what you can do to keep those tires from wearing out. And another added benefit being that it's so much quieter. And when the kids go in the grass, when they're driving around, some of the kids are really light, and so they don't get very much traction with these hard plastic tires. And now with these bike tires, they can actually drive through the grass just fine. Now, when I made that video 2 years ago about this kid Tesla, I was showing how well it had held up over the course of its life up to that point. And now it's been another 2 years since then, and so I kind of wanted to show where we were at with it. In the last video, this bolt right here was missing. That bolt came off some time ago. I have no idea when, before we got it. And so this moves up and down. And when I put a trailer hitch on my Model S Tesla, this was one of the bolts holding on the bumper previously, and I didn't need it anymore because there were new bolts that came with the kit, and that had the right thread, so I just put that on there. So now that's bolted on, and this is what the original bolt looked like with the washer on it. Now, looking here at the front of the vehicle, you can see it has experienced some additional trauma, and the bumper has been broken off. You can see the tire better and the tread on it, which is kind of fun, but otherwise that's not doing so well. We still have the front lid somewhere here in the garage, but we never put it on because it just keeps falling off, and the kids like to ride up here in the front anyway. We have some additional bumper cracking and breaking off right here. Really, that's about the most of it. The rest of the condition of this is about the same as what it was previously. Clara here is going to show us how much quieter it is. Okay, go ahead, Clara. Oh yeah, so much quieter. I have some additional videos upcoming where I'm going to show some additional modifications that I've made to our travel trailer, as well as lots of trips that we've experienced in the travel trailer, as well as road trips in our Tesla we've done recently. And so I will begin those uploaded as soon as I can get them edited. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you in the next video.